Hi everyone, welcome back to another video, and this is for Anything But a Card Challenge Blog, challenge number 37, and the theme for July is anything goes. You can do whatever you want as long as it's not a card. And I did ATCs, and my ATCs are based on Mapboard, and you can get Mapboard anywhere. I got mine at Hobby Lobby, and they sell them in packs, and I don't remember how many are in a pack, but they come in 8x10, which is the size I got, and 12x12 and 4x6, but don't quote me on that. I know they make a pack that's in a smaller size. So I took one of the 8x10s and cut them down to size and just played around with different stuff that I had on my desk for digging around. So this one, I had some more pink tissue paper left, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit closer. And I used matte medium to glue that, and then after that dried, I took my thick gesso and this hexagon stencil with my palette knife, put the gesso through the stencil, and let that dry, and then I took my bubblegum pink Delusion spray and a plastic canvas circle and sprayed the Delusion spray through the plastic canvas. And while that was drying, I stamped the girl, and she's from October Afternoon, and she's from the Midway collection. Stamped it on black Memento ink pad, I think, yeah, and I colored her skin with the Faber-Castell watercolor crayon in peach, and the rest of her I used my Inktense color pencils, and because the set of 12 doesn't have a light pink or a peachy skin tone type color, that's why I had to use the watercolor crayon. Otherwise I would have used the Inktense for the whole thing. So that's that one. And then the quote is from Dr. Seuss: "If you never did, you should. Things are fun and fun is good." And the font I used for all the sentiments is called Groovy Baby, and the font size is 11. With fonts, you have to play around with the sizes. Different fonts, some are really small, you have to expand them a little bit. So you just have to play around, and some are really big. So that's that one. And these two are somewhat the same because I use the same papers. It's actually vellum, and it's from Rubber Baby Buggy Bumpers. You know, back this up a little bit. And the vellum was in my stash, and I thought it would be perfect for these two because these two are from the Party Girl cling set from Julie Nutting Prima. So I thought that'd be perfect for her for these. And for the background on these, I used the white side because it is vellum of the mat board, and I used my Pearl Essence watercolors from Artist Lock on both of them. You can see that in the background. So I did the background, and then after the background dried, I put matte medium on the mat board, and then also on the back of the vellum, and then on the front of the vellum after I'm glued it, put it on the mat board. But I put it, because it was like a half sheet, so I just laid it on like that before, when I glued the vellum to the mat board. And then with a hotel key, I tried to smooth out the vellum as best I could without getting too much wrinkles, but it's still wrinkled up. So with this one, I used the bubblegum pink spray again and just sprayed it on there. And I did have some leftover color on the plastic canvas. So, like, I had blue on there. So when I went to, because I used the plastic canvas as a stamp and stamped it on this one, and that's where you get the purples and the blues from on this one. And her dress is from the Create collection from Recollections, and it's a little scrap was a perfect size. And again, I used the Faber-Castell peach watercolor crayon and the brown to color her skin tone and hair. And then I stamped her again on the ATC so I could get the string and the balloon, because there was no way I was fussy cutting that, because I know I'll screw that up. So I took a scrap of Fab Scraps paper, which I used for the baby mini I made, and I used that for the balloon. And this sentiment says, you are you, now isn't that pleasant? And this one says, why fit in when you were born to stand out? And that's also from Dr. Seuss. Both of these are. For her dress, I used a scrap from TCP Studio. And then again, I stamped her onto the ATC, and then I stamped the balloon on white cardstock, and I just colored in with a pen. So, and then I did the edging with the black stays on. And then these, start with this one. This one was on napkin that was on my desk from a previous project. Glued it with matte medium. And then I stamped her, well actually she was for something else, but I decided to use it for the ATC, and she's again another Julie Nutting clean stamp set, Sunshine. And I dressed her in basic gray, Fact and Fiction. And the heart was from a leftover piece that I was going to use for something else and never did. And that was sprayed with Illusions After Midnight. Zoom in a little bit. Hopefully it's not too fuzzy. And the sentiment is from Charles Schultz. All you need is love, but a little chocolate now and then doesn't hurt. And these Julie Nutting stamps, as you can see, are somewhat perfect for ATCs as well as cards. You do have to cut off her legs and feet just a little bit to get them to fit. Just like the bigger ones you can use for cards, you sometimes have to cut off their feet as well. So that's that one. And again, this one was, the background was leftover scrap of paper that had spray, and the paper was Newsworthy from Paper Studio, Hobby Lobby brand. So I took it and crumpled it up and put matte medium on the mat board and just glued it on there that way, and then turned it around and put matte medium on there as well. And the stamp I used was Mercy. That one. I also used the Eiffel Tower as well as her. And I used, I think, VersaFine to stamp that. And again, book paper for her. And her dress is from Prima Cartographer. And it's the, I forget the pad, but it's not the paper pad, it's one of the accessories, like the 4x6 and something like that. I can't think off the top of my head what it is. And it's somewhere in my room in the box. And while going through my magazine images to work on these ATCs, I found this dress form. Of course, I cut it off because it was a lot longer, and I added this flower. And her quote says, love isn't an emotion or an instinct, it's an art. But so that's that one. And then finally, well, I think this was my favorite. When I went looking for stuff to use for the ATCs, I saw her and thought she would fit, because she was a little smaller, but she was a little bit longer, so I did have to cut her waist off a little bit. And originally she was going to go on this one, because I thought the black and white and red would be really cool. But then I saw this picture, and it's from Life magazine that I had gotten at the library used book sale, and I thought that'd be cool to use for her. So I did a tape transfer on that, and that really didn't work very well, but I still want to use it anyway. So I glued that with Aleene's, and for her, because she is a magazine image, and I did leave her hang out a little bit over the ATC itself, I did have to back it with a heavier paper, and I just grabbed whatever was nearby, and that was the tag pad from Prima for the Julie Nutting girls, the big girls. So that's what I used to back her on, and it's sturdy. And I glue that with Aleene's, and then I cut her out, and I used foam tape to put her on the ATC, and I added a Wild Orchid Crafts flower that I had on my desk, and her quote is, "I'm trying to find myself, sometimes that's not easy," and I think that's from Marilyn Monroe. And I think this one is as well, but to make sure, I'm going to look for it, and then I'm going to put it in the description below who it's by. And that's it. So be sure to check out Anything But a Card Challenge blog to see what the other designers are doing and play along. And until next time, thanks for watching.